I recently did videos on all Star Citizen's ship weapon sizes, but today I want to revisit the size 1 and 2s before we move on to the bigger ones because a lot has changed with patch 4.7's armor updates. 4.7 made a lot of the weapons I recommended in those a lot, if not completely ineffective against bigger targets. So sit back because we're diving deep in this one to find the best size 1 and 2 ship weapons in Star Citizen moving forward. Now, we all know these aren't the strongest weapons, and now that they're even weaker thanks to ship armor, it's more important than ever to ensure you equip the right ones for the job. I'm going to split my recommendations in two. One best for fighting smaller ships and vehicles in PvE and PvP, and another to help your fleet attack those fat, juicy ones effectively and actually do some damage. Many seem to think that the meta has shifted to whatever weapon has the highest alpha damage is best. And while there is some truth to it, it's not quite as simple as that. Unlike the last weapon tests I did on these weapon sizes, I won't be going through all of them again, but simply mention and test the ones actually worth using in patch 4.7. Let's start with the size 1 weapons, and for these tests I'm taking out the trusty Aurora Mark 1 SE, which allows us to carry 4 size 1s. In previous tests I used the LN, but I'm feeling fancy today and will probably melt the special edition after this. So let's pump it out with some military components and take it out for one last ride. As for which weapons to equip and test first, we want to make sure we can deal with any ship's MRT and HRT bounties throw at us effectively. These are your Valkyries, Mercury Star Runners and Caterpillars, so to ensure we can do some damage to those as well as anything smaller, we need to find something that can do at least 92 physical and 80 energy alpha damage as a baseline requirement. Immediately that cancels out the following size 1 weapons due to physical deflection: the Yellow Jacket GT210, CF117 Bulldog, SW16BR1 Buzzsaw, NDB26, 9 Series Longsword, and Tarantula GT870 Mark 1. As for the weapons now completely ineffective against energy weapons, against the bigger bounties, you can add these to the list: the Light Strike 1, FL11, Attrition 1, the Weak, and Ardor 1 Salvaged Repeater. So if you have any of those for a size 1 and plan on fighting anything bigger than a light or medium fighter at some point, toss them. But before we look at which ones are best for PvE and PvP, these are the ones that will actually do some damage to larger ships: the Dominance 1, Havoc, Sledge 1 Mass Driver, Deadbolt 1, M3A, NN13, and Omnisky 3. As for which one of those is best, right off the bat, if we're talking about small size 1 weapons against big, slower targets, the Dominance 1 Laser Scattergun dominates, hands down, followed by the Havoc Ballistic Scatterguns, at least in terms of stats. The problem with them is you absolutely need to stay close and land your shots, which, while easier against juicy targets with a bit of practice, definitely requires a bit more skill, especially for avoiding turret fire. Your size 1s will feel like size 3s with these once you master them. Second best for slow targets, though probably the best option for the average player like myself, is the Deadbolt 1 Ballistic, followed closely by the M3A Laser Cannon. Now, while those 4 are great for PvE and PvP against big targets, what about smaller, more nimble foes? Well, if you're planning on doing PvE or PvP against more agile targets, you're going to need something that shoots a bit faster in terms of projectile speed. Depending on your weapon preference, your best size 1 ship weapons for PvP against more maneuverable targets are the Omnisky 3 or NN13 neutron cannon, because their projectiles travel at 1400 meters per second, which really is the bare minimum, especially for PvP in Star Citizen. The NN13 feels especially good against light fighters, though its low alpha damage can take quite some time to kill medium or heavy fighters. The Omnisky 3 on the other hand has a bit less shots per charge, but feels quite a bit more powerful in practice and has no trouble downing bigger targets. Overall, gun to my head, if I had to pick which size 1 weapon I think is best in Star Citizen's patch 4.7 right now, I'd go for the Omnisky 3. Any other size 1 weapons listed as effective here will merely tickle or bore your opponents to death. And now that you know which size 1 weapons are best for PvE and PvP, let's move on. Now, before we look at which size 2 weapons are best for PvE and PvP, we have to eliminate the weak ones who didn't make our little patch 4.7 cut. The size 2s that are now useless against bigger MRT and HRT targets include the Scorpion GT215, Tiger Strike T19P, CF227 Badger, SW16BR2 Sawbuck, BRVS, NDB28, 10 Series Greatsword, Light Strike 2, FL22, and Tarantula GT870 Mark II. It pains me to say, but you can toss those. I'm especially upset about the 10 Series Greatsword, but whatever. Let's look at which size 2 weapons will actually do some damage against the tankier targets. The Dominance 2, Helion, Strife Mass Driver, the Whip, MVSA, CVSA, NN14, Omnisky 6, Ardor 2 Salvage, GVSR, Attrition 2, and the Wasp. To test these, as in the previous video I did on the size 2 weapons, I'll be using the Reliant Tana with Toshima turrets, which allow us to equip 6 size 2s at once, which is always super fun. We're also pimping it out with A-grade military components, and if you want to know how to get those fairly easily, check out this video. Right, now that we're all set up and good to go, let's go pick some fights. Unlike the previous tests, I won't be going through each and every weapon, instead only highlighting the ones I found to work best in MRT and HRT bounties against bigger targets. Of course, I'll split my PvE and PvP recommendations between which is best versus slow and fast enemies. Let's get to it. Right, so for those fat, juicy targets like the Valkyrie, MSR, Vanguards or Caterpillars, if you manage to stick close and dodge defensive turrets, nothing beats the Dominance 2 laser or Helion ballistic scatterguns. Period. A very close second place goes to the Strife Mass Driver for snipers who like to keep their distance, and Deadbolt 2 in third place. Interestingly, if you own a Glaive, Scythe or Vanguard, they actually have the best size 2 weapons, namely the Whip, MVSA and CVSA in that order, though you can't equip those on any other ship at the moment, so the Deadbolt 2 seems to be the best option against big, slow targets for the average Star Citizen pilot. Even though the Deadbolt 2 is great for PvE against medium fighters, you're definitely not killing a skilled, upgraded light or medium fighter pilot in PvP with these before they kill you. But what about the nimbler opponents, especially in PvP? Repeaters and Gatling guns just don't cut it at these sizes, I'm afraid. so forget about them. Ditch the Deadbolt 2 and get something with more projectile speed that's still powerful enough to take agile targets down first before they can rake you. Here I recommend the NN14 Neutron or Omnisky 6 laser cannon, because while still punching hard, the bullets travel nearly 50% faster. The Omnisky 6 gives you much less shots than the NN14, but they do feel slightly stronger overall after numerous tests. As for which size 2 weapon is best in Star Citizen's patch 4.7, I'd recommend the NN14 Neutron cannon over anything else, since it has nearly double the projectile speed of the Deadbolt 2 and more reliable than the Dominance 2 and Strife Mass Driver. It also has about 3 times more shots per charge compared to the Omnisky 6, which is just ridiculous, to be honest. I won't be surprised if they nerf this one, so keep this info to yourself. And that's it really. It sucks that size 1 and 2 Gatling weapons are a big no-no in Star Citizen's patch 4.7, but what can you do? Which size 1 or 2 ship weapons do you think is best? Let us know in the comments, and don't miss the epic video right here in the corner.